Welcome back to the channel. You join me in the locker room, brought to you by the Tech Locker, company that protects your technology investment. And in the words of Mr. Cleese, it's time for something a little bit different. Cue the intro. Welcome to the locker room. Good to have you back. It is time for something very different. I have been so excited all week. You might have noticed that. Everyone's been spammed with 100 million posts leading into this one. Super excited about today's guest. Normally on this channel, we talk about technology and strategy and leadership, and we're still going to talk about those things, but in a very, very different spin and in a really super interesting way, I think. So it is going to be very different, but I've really been looking forward to this one. Today's guest, YouTuber, adventurer, philanthropist, storyteller. He's got food named after him. There's burgers and breakfasts and all sorts of things. He's leaving his helmets halfway around the world for people to visit. And of course, he is the sexiest British lord of all time. So please welcome to the channel, Mr. HelmetHead. Introduce yourself, real name Alan.
Yes, hello everybody. I'm Alan, also known as HelmetHead, YouTuber, content curator, adventurer, and bit of a plonker, to be completely honest. And that's how I live my life. But thank you for having me on your show.
No, thank you for joining us. So you are a YouTuber, a very successful YouTuber. Your channel is HelmetHead. If you haven't seen the channel, please, I would urge you go and watch it. It's absolutely superb. I said just before we started to hit record, I said I feel like I know you, Alan, and he said I get that a lot, and that's his gift as an entertainer, as somebody who tells these stories and brings you with him. So if you haven't watched it, please go and subscribe to the channel. You will not regret it. So I introduced you though with like about 400,000 titles and things that I see you as, and I genuinely see you as all of those things, and no least of which, you know, a real kind of storyteller. How do you describe yourself?
Yeah, I think content creation is very much a storytelling thing. It's sort of you share your life, but you storyboard it in your head, and then you sort of make a jigsaw of all the bits of a video, and then you put it together. But the sort of the joy of it is that you're telling your story. Normally, for me, it's from the beginning to the end of the day, and it's very much it's just the creative world, I suppose. I love it. I look at myself, like I said, as a bit of a plonker. Don't really know much, but I just wing it in life and smile a lot and kind of get away with stuff.
It's hard to believe. It really is. So part of the reason why I was looking forward to this, many reasons why I was looking forward to this one so much is, but you do talk. Oh, hang on, non-alcoholic beer.
Non-alcoholic beer. It's got to be
and
done.
we've also seemingly got matching mugs. Look at that.
We have.
Can we get them to cheers on the end of the camera? Does that work? Yeah, so part of you know what you bring to all of your content is this kind of idea that you don't actually plan anything. You just kind of wake up and kind of go, there, I'm going there, and off you go. That can't be true.
Well, kind of, because a lot of the time, especially when I've been doing the world trip, I have an end destination, so I've got to kind of head towards that way. But what I do is it's basically open Google Maps, find something that looks good on Google Maps, like mountainy, click on anyone who's got like a picture on it and have a look at what's there, and then go, well, that looks interesting, and then just go and see what's there. And then you just find the most amazing things, from unbelievable mountain passes. I mean, half time I can't even pronounce the places and get any of that stuff right. But just wing it. And if it's rubbish, then you just go and find something else. I mean, I went all the way, I can't remember which country it was. I was in France, I think, and I went to something just called the Big Bench. And I kind of went off to this sort of route thinking I could ride my bike to the Big Bench. And it turns out I could only ride it to the sort of the bottom of the mountain and then walk up it to get to the Big Bench. And that's literally all it was a big bench with a view. But at the same time, what a view. So it was worth it.
It was. I remember that one. It was an incredible view. I think, if I remember, it's quite a warm day. You got rather warm by the time you got to the top of the hill. Your cart and your drones and everything all the way up this massive hill with you, bless you.
But you've got to get the shot. You've got to get the shot. I think, funnily, I actually went to the other Big Bench. I didn't know there's more than one. Because I never read any of the stuff because I find it boring. But it turns out there's big benches on different bits, and the idea is you're all staring at each other. But I only found that out when I got to the second one in the rain and actually read something on it. And then I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But yeah, just winging it.
So where did it come from? Where did this drive to just get up one day, get on your bike, whatever bike that was at the time, and just go? Where did that really come from?
I suppose it's the thing that I had a couple of friends that I used to go out on the bike with. They both moved away in completely different opposite directions. It was just me. So I was like, you know, I'm going to get a GoPro and I'm just going to record it and see what happens. And that's how it sort of started. But it kind of, it's one of those things where it's like you're always trying to go bigger and bigger and bigger. So I kind of did one trip where I had, when I first bought the monkey bike, and I thought riding from here to Wales and back was like a big challenge. And I did it for charity at the time. I think I raised about £1,000. And I thought that was a big deal because at the time that was for me. It was like a little 125 going down the A5 all the way there, about 180 miles was a big deal. But then obviously you go further and further and further. And before you know it, you're doing like, 400-500 miles. And it's just madness. But it's that you just continue trying to improve yourself and trying to go for the next step. Even right now, bringing my bike's called Ashworth, it's a Honda monkey bike, bringing that home, it's the end of a chapter. It's been quite emotional, but then I've already gone, right, I'm going to India next. And I've already got 2025 planned and 2026 planned in regards to what's happening and how it's going to happen. And they're all just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So, yeah, it's just madness.
There's come up. I mean, we're going to get to series 12 because I've not cried as much since the beginning of series 12 as when I watched Bambi as a kid. Like, no, what do you mean it's coming to an end? What's that about?
It's proper emotional, yeah.
It really was, and we're going to talk about that in a minute because Ashworth. You might have seen in one of my videos. I've got a monkey. It's really popular bike, the monkey bike, right now. I don't think many people would do what you've done with it. I mean, you've literally had it everywhere. It's been in the bloody Sahara Desert, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Do you have to be a little bit crazy to do this kind of stuff, or is it just a mindset to just why not?
I think if you're the kind of person, I think there's two sorts really. There's the kind of person that talks about doing something. So many people goes, I really want to do a big trip. I really want to go to the North Pole or whatever, and they never do it. They talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. And I had a similar thing with a couple of friends. We wanted to go to Vegas and ride Route 66 and the higher Harleys, and we never did it. And I'm one of these sort of people that, and I think there is many of us out there that just go, I'm just going to book it and do it. And I think the key point is if you book it, you're committing. And once you've committed, you're going to do it. And that's how I kind of live my life. I go, I'm just going to book a hotel. I'm going to book my flights and I plan the rest later. Even my next leg at the minute, I've got an idea of where I want to fly to, but I've got and what I want to do, but I've not put anything into place yet. And I've got people going, I want to come. It's like, I don't even know what I'm really doing. It's like, I've not got that far. I've just got back from one leg. But that's the mindset. I think if you're a person who goes, I want to do it, just book it and go and do it. And I think there's loads of us. There's loads of us. It's just having that oomph to just go and do something crazy and just smile all the way.
And you've got obviously a load of really good mates. I think you've got a load of people who consider themselves your mates and you're meeting them for the first time, me being one of those. But I think you've got some really good mates, obviously, Sidekick, the executive. You've got all these people who you take on the journey. It will make sense, by the way, if you watch the programs, it all will. But you've got some really good friends who've backed you all the way around this journey. And they seem to have one by one kind of kicked off their own channels and taken their own adventures that bit further. Do you feel as proud to kind of pay that forward almost in that way to bring that sense of adventure to others?
Yeah, one of the things I really enjoy is when I normally if somebody comes out and joins me on something I do, it's like they get the bug and they want to come back and they start planning how they're going to do it and which ways they're going to do it. And normally by working with me, like hanging out with me more than anything more than a couple of times, I think the ball starts rolling because I can imagine if you had a camera and imagine if you started doing some bits and bobs and then before you know it, they've got one and they're starting their own little world. And people like a two-wheeled auto twit, I'm watching him, get better and better every single time he makes a video. And there's been lots of others as well. And it's nice to see. And it's almost like you've got your own little sort of team, if it makes sense, because we all come together every once in a while and there'll be something like the recent charity ride that I did. And there was TJ and Two Auto Twit, and there was loads of us. And it was almost like a whole team had come together. And we're all walking around with cameras and looking like plonkers, but we're all having a right laugh. And they're just following me, what I really love as well, because they're like, we went all the way to Germany to buy sausage to raise money. and we couldn't find anywhere to eat sausage in Germany. Well, at least in Frankfurt, where was our destination. So we ended up having to have sausage in a petrol station on the services on the way back. What was still in Germany kind of counted. And that was our whole trip was to go and buy sausage. And we didn't end up getting it properly where we should have got it. It was just chaos. But we were all laughing and giggling every single night. So it was really good.
And that is what it's about, isn't it? Because, again, it's like you watch. I do genuinely think that you have an absolute talent to, and clearly I'm not alone, but a talent to bring people with you on the story, because I don't know where that comes from in terms of a learned capability, but it's like you're watching what you do, your content, and you feel like you're talking to me, and that's an absolute gift. That, however you've done that, too enthusiastic, thumbs up. But you do feel like you're on that journey. Where were you when you got stuck at the top of the hill in snow and it just was getting worse and worse and worse? And you're willing to get through the snow.
As I literally came down that, I'm talking to myself, but I was talking to the camera. But generally was trying to tell myself I was making the right choice. I need to turn around. And I was justifying it. And literally my brain, I was going, all I was doing at this point, I was more worried about not making it than what I was about the adventure. And I went, no, this is getting silly. In my head, I was just like, you need to turn around. So even that whole bit was generally me going, oh, that's dangerous. I shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that. And I just turned the bike around. I was like, I just need to gun it. And I was even gutted when I hit too much snow and the bike sort of banked up on this sort of slope. I was actually gutted that it stopped because I took the throttle slightly off. And I was like, no. And I was just like, just keep giving it. But at that point, it just wouldn't go. Nuts. Absolutely nuts.
It reminded me of, have you seen the film Silent Hill, where they just walk off into the fog and then they turn around and the car's not there? You turn around, you pointed, you went, the bike's back there somewhere, and it's like, it's not. And you were waiting for the lorry to come around the corner. I'm just like, oh man, this is terrifying.
One of the funny things is I left the bike in the snow, just like I say, in the middle of the road on this thing. And it's obviously a closed, abandoned ski resort / lift. But I was walking off and I got to the bit, and I think I was talking about it would be weird, like if there was wolves and stuff, because it had that eerie kind of smoky, effect going on. But I realised I have a spot like GPS tracker SOS thing, and I pay for all the things with helicopter lots. So if anything happens, I could press this thing and it will, the helicopter would come and I'd be rescued. So I walked all the way from the bike and then I went, I've left it in my back box. And I was at that moment going about 3/4 of the way there. And I'll be all right. It'll be fine. So if I keep going, the whole time I'm going, if anything happens, no one's going to know I'm here. So I paid all that money for this, to subscribe to this thing. And every time I end up leaving it in the back box.
Do you know when you publish these things and you're away and you're obviously doing your editing night by night as you kind of go in, and then you're trying to get the videos out. Do you not get a phone call from the missus going, what are you doing?
No, I think she's used to it, to be fair. I think she just thinks I'm absolutely mad. But I think that's why we get on so well, because she kind of thinks, do you know what, he's having fun, and it's just, it just works. And I think it's one of these things with me always. I've always been like, Joe, I'd risk it for a biscuit anyway. Like even all the kit that I use and the way that I film, a lot of people go, I wouldn't do that because I hold a stick off with a 360 on to get shots. And it's like this far off the floor. And I've smashed up so many drones, it's mad. But I need the shot, and it's part of the adventure. It's like, no, I want this to be engaging and fun. And I want it to be what most people would turn around and walk away from, or they'd have to over plan it and they'd have to organize it. When I'm going, I want it to be me, and me as a person who is always winged it, is always kind of just got on with getting it done. And I think part of that comes from, because obviously as a kid, still am, I have quite severe dyslexia. I always found it that you'd get the teachers back then, because it's almost being recognised at the time, would be like, oh, you're not going to go far, you're not going to do this. And you just proved them wrong. And I've always continued to do it. I'm always like, if I want to do something, I'm just going to go and do it, and I'll achieve it. If I want to go and get a degree, I'll go and get a degree because I can.
Yeah.
And it's mindset. The mindset is, if you say I'm going to go and do it, and you plan it and you book it, you will. But if you just talk about it, you're never going to. So it's always been the same.
That's really strong. And you're right. I was talking to somebody else recently and about their diagnosis of dyslexia, and school back when way back when they had the cane out and all the rest of it, School, they didn't get it. None of this was really understood. Like you say, it was just you're not going to make anything of yourself. Therefore, we won't even give you any attention. And there is that element I find of people like yourself who are just kind of going, well, I'm just going to prove you wrong. I might not be like, your Lord Sugars of the world or wherever, but I'm going to do things my way. I'm going to enjoy my life. I'm going to have a good life, and I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And therefore, I win because I'm happy and I'm doing what I want.
Exactly.
And is that something that you feel like you've always got that voice in your head, kind of sticking virtual two fingers up to your school teachers?
It's not so much now, especially when I was younger. I think as I've got older, I just look like I want to be happy. I used to work in the ambulance service for about 5 years as well, so I've seen some quite nasty stuff, and I think that's kind of also helped push my brain towards that. Live your sort of life, go out and enjoy it, because you don't know what's going to happen next, and so much stuff can happen to a person. I don't want to be this person as well that when I'm sat there, hopefully in a retirement home, in a chair, drooling and telling somebody about a story, and all I did in my life was sit behind a desk and stare at a screen. I want to be, well, actually, I have done this, 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 and this. And then I've got 6 kids as well. And I want them to be proud of me as well. So I want them to go, oh, my dad's traveled the world. My dad's done this. My dad's done that. Because I want them to have the same kind of thing, that mindset again of wanting to explore, be an adventurer. And there's so much to see. I mean, I've only just started. I'm going to be doing this for years and years and years and years yet, because the entire world is huge. And even if I visit one country, I've hardly seen any of it. So it's almost like I can just go forever. It's like a never-ending story.
So is that the legacy that you kind of are looking to leave behind? By the way, there's a level of respect, and then it goes up when you've got 6 kids. I can't handle 2 of myself, so that's that's impressive. But is that part of your legacy? You want to leave that kind of just go do you, go be wherever you want to be, whatever that is.
Absolutely, 100%. And everybody, everyone. Like I said, some people don't do what they want to do. Like even my oldest son is going off to uni, and he's doing policing and criminology and all this stuff. But I'm like, if that's what you want to do, go and do it. If you don't enjoy it, you don't have to do it. Go and find something else to do. Because everyone goes, I've got to do this. I've got to earn this much. I've got to be this person. And they hate their lives. So it's like, don't hate your life. Go and find something you enjoy doing and do it. I mean, one of the biggest things about life is everybody concentrates just on money. And money is a very important thing, hugely. But I'm like, do you know what? I'd rather spend what I've got and have an incredible time than have loads of money in the bank just sat there in savings accounts. And I'll probably regret saying this when I'm like, about to retire, and I'm going, I've not got a lot left. But like I said, it's all about the stories and the dreams. When I retire, I'll be there going, I've done this, I've this. And to be fair, even when I retire, I think I'll still go off and travel. It's just part of that world that I'm in and I love. So yeah, it's all crazy.
It's cheaper to retire to a cruise ship, isn't it, than a retirement home these days? So.
Yeah, I saw that on the news. It's not a bad life sitting there drinking cocktails.
Tell you what, they probably have a decent TV to play your channel, because I've got this image now of you being in a retirement home and you going, I did this, I used to tour the world on motorbikes, and they're going, did you actually? Meds, medication.
I'll be like, put me on the telly, and I'll be, not again.
But you say about being in the ambulance service and seeing a lot of things, and I can only but imagine that that's a job. There's not enough money in the world. Those lads and lasses are not paid anywhere near what they should be for what they do and what they contribute to. But that must bring with it a steel. And one of the things that I really take from watching your content is I want to be able to look in the face of all manner of crap that's happening, quite frankly, and just go, be all right. And that's it. You seem to be able to do that. It's like that, you started your UK trip, and about 10 minutes in, your phone broke because it was raining so much, and you're like, I'd have turned around. I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't have started in that weather, but I'd have definitely turned around at that point. I'd have given up. But you just seem to go, it's all right, we'll find a way. It is what it is. Yeah. Is that genuine, or is a little bit of that just for the what you're trying to put across?
No, to be fair, there's always some way, isn't there? There's always, if you think about it, again, it's sort of this overthinking, over-planning concept that a lot of people have. It's like, if your bike breaks, someone's going to come along eventually, even if you've got to wave them down or whatever you've got to do. And the other side is, I think there's a lot of nice people, a lot of really nice people in the world. And that, I think the world trip up to now, the way I've done it, I've had to rely on people's niceness to look after my bike, store it, and people have gone above and beyond. They've taken time off of work. There's that guy that paid for me to stay in a boat, took me out, for a night out in Portugal. The other guy took me to his family party. Pinked my bike guys, gave me toured me around when I arrived and lent me a bike. It's like there's just loads of nice people, and I think that's the thing about life. I was like, when anything goes wrong, you can sit there and you can cry about it. And don't get me wrong, there is times where I think things are really stressful and et cetera, but most of the time it works, doesn't it? If you get a flat tire on your car, you're either going to pump up or you're going to call the RAC and you'll sit there for an hour, but you're still going to get back on the road. It's just, don't get stressed. Just take 5 minutes and just be, do you know what? It'll be all right. And then it always is, because someone will come along. At least so far it's worked.
So far, I mean, yeah, 28,000 kilometers later, you've always managed to find some help when you needed it. You talk about the people who've kind of stashed your bike. I mean, is that just the power of YouTube and the power of networks, I guess, these days, that people have just got involved with your content and kind of gone, dude, come stay at my place?
Yeah, to be fair, I think pretty much I'm very lucky for the people that seem to watch the channel, and I'm by far not the hugest YouTuber in the world, and I've been doing it for quite some time as well. But one of the things I always turn around and say, people go, "Oh, do you not wish you had?" And we all do. In deep down, I do. I wish I had 100,000, 1 million subscribers, etc. But the people that I've got, they love the channel and they love the content, and there's quite a lot of people that've got quite a lot from it. And I find that even the people I've met along the way, it's similar to us talking. It's like, they've watched it because they enjoy it and they love the channel and they want to be part of it. And for them, it's almost like they want that life and they can join in and be part of that life. And every time I spend time with people, we just have a laugh. That's the best bit. Sam, when we were in Czech Republic, I can't remember how many drinks that we had now, but
11.
It was 11. And we had this weird green shop thing that was mouthwash. It was like minty. Anyway, but again, we'd only just met and we had a fantastic night. We had a hilarious time. And since I got back from that, he was sending me pictures of all sorts of stuff. He goes, "Oh, you tried this and we're going to try that next time you come and we're doing this." So when I came back out, they'd done this whole thing for me. And, it's just, again, people are fantastic, but it's just embrace it. And people are scared to embrace strangers and actually see the goodness in people, I think. A lot of people just see the bad sort. So I go, I won't talk to a person because they could do this and they could do that. And interestingly, nearly everywhere I've travelled, there's not a point where I've sat there and thought, I feel uncomfortable and I feel like I'm in some sort of danger. And there's even really randomly when I went into Slovakia, I had loads of messages going, "Oh, you don't want to be in there. You need to get out. This is going on and that's going on." And everyone was lovely, literally out of this world nice. And none of it seemed dodgy. There was a random guy that took a poo next to his van and that was just got out, and I was like, well, that's nice. But other than that one moment of a man pooing right in front of me, the rest of the time was amazing. So again, I don't get what people get scared of. And I think, again, it's this hyped up, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. What happens if it breaks down? What if that happens? Well, then you'll never leave the house. So it's like, I don't watch the news because I think it's depressing, it's boring. So I have no idea what's going on in most of the countries that I'm going to go and be in or go and see until somebody goes, "Oh, do you know this is going on?" "Oh, is it?" But again, it's just, I don't want to fill my mind with negativity.
But you're right, though. I mean, if you did watch the news, you wouldn't go anywhere, would you? I mean, you can barely leave your own town these days without finding something going on. But it's interesting that I think. Would you still do it if YouTube hadn't been the kind of success for you that it is?
I don't know, to be honest. I think I was always been one of these people that's like, when I'm in something, can I do something, I try and be the best at what I'm at. So it's like I probably would have gone and done some cool adventures, and I might have even gone to Morocco, but not probably the way that I've done it. I would have probably been, maybe if I was lucky, a long weekend away and a big push, maybe a week, but it would have been a rare thing. It's like I've kind of fallen into this world. I never thought in a million years that it would be going the way that it's going. But again, the YouTube is also, and the channel, it's become a business. So you've kind of got your fun side of things, but you have what I call the 3 pillars that you build. So I've kind of built my adventure pillar. Now I'm kind of seem to be in the tech space, but I seem to have every bike smart screen going possible that's ever made, and loads of other stuff being sent and going through. And now I've sort of gone into the review niche, and I'm getting sent all these bikes. So I've kind of got my 3 pillars, and that's all you kind of need in the YouTube world is 3 different things. So it doesn't get boring. You're breaking up your story. So the adventures is really me and my story. Tech's really cool because everybody goes, oh, I want to try what's new. And obviously everybody in the bike space is interested in the next new bike coming out and what's it able to do. So I kind of feel like I've got my 3 now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does make a lot of sense. And how the tech's interesting, isn't it? Because I don't know about yourself, but I imagine it's the same. But when I took my test, the gadgets on bikes were non-existent. If you didn't have like a weird choke thing going on, it was everything's so like automated and cruise control. It's very like a high spec car these days, a tip-top bike. Do you kind of miss the old days in some way without the tech, or do you now like really rely on that? Obviously, you use your phone for GPS and everything when you're on your adventures, but how much do you rely on the modern tech compared to what you perhaps have seen in the past?
See, interestingly, what I'm finding is that my Triumph Scrambler is basic, let alone it's a modern bike, it's basic, and I prefer that. So I put the smart screens and thing on it, and I really do like having a smart screen for my navigation. Personally, I'm not all that bothered about the cameras, the tire pressure monitors and all this, because I don't really in the real world every day when I'm riding constantly look at my tire pressures. It's nice when you're setting off, but what I'm finding is a lot of manufacturers now, there is some very techie bikes. I'm about to do the press launch for the new Vosges 900. That's going to be packed with loads of tech. It's going against BMW. But currently in the garage, it's going to go back in the next couple of days. I've got the Benelli 752S. And other than the TFT screen, it's just a standard bike. So it's got ABS, but it's minimum. So it's very much like, to be fair, it's still the same as riding, in my opinion, an old CVR 600 RR, because it's almost like you can still spin the rear wheel, because I managed to do it. So it's not got traction control. So you can still get it. So you don't have to buy this fancy tech machine. Buy the base models or buy the bikes with hardly anything on, like the Scramblers and a lot of the Triumphs and the old T100s and stuff like that. So it's all still there. It's just now we've just got such a wide choice. So if you want tech, you have it. If you don't want tech, you don't want it, or you buy when you put tech on it, so that you can get whatever you want.
Bit of a pick and mix, a Woolworths pick and mix for those who remember Woolworths. You walk in with your £2 and come out completely hopped up.
Bags of sweets, here we go.
Cut to the end then. Series 12, everybody's devoed because you brought Ashworth home. Ashworth, the country sucking beast. Love that. Who coined that phrase? Was that you, by the way?
No, it was Lee Ashworth, Midnight Autos, the guy that basically built the bike. He literally said, I've created you a country sucking beast. And ever since he said it, I was like, I love that. I'm nicking that. I'm going to have it. So yeah, that's all him. The whole bike's him. The suspension, the setup, it's just next level.
It looks superb. I mean, mine's like embarrassingly hardly moved out the garage since I got mine, but I'll get there. I'll get there. This will inspire. But Series 12, tough decision. You've done 28,000 kilometers on this thing. It is caked in dust, dirt, grime, leaks, and all sorts of things. How long did you have to pore over that decision to bring it back and do something as epic as you're clearly looking to do next? But that can't have been easy.
No, it was. It's one of these things where 1 minute I'm going, do you know what? I think I'll bring it back. And then I've had quite a few offers as well. So I could have gone further. I'm going, oh, do you know what? I'm going to keep going. One of the biggest problems potentially was coming up was things like Iran. You can get through, but I think I might struggle to get through it because I'd normally do about 6 days to a week sort of timetable. And then Pakistan, you need a police escort, so I can't jump for a chunk of it. And everything was going to go like, do you know, it's going to get harder and harder to do. So I was thinking, this is. I was up for doing it, but I was there going, this is kind of a time and a place where I could get the bike back. This is kind of that decision time. And one of the things about the channel as well that, is one of those things to do in life, I suppose, is that it wasn't getting huge views towards the end of the last series, like Series 11. And I think it was kind of pittering a little bit as well, because as much as it's cool doing it the way I'm doing it, and most of the time I'm trying to munch down the miles. And I think there's only so much somebody wants to watch someone else just hacking miles after mile after mile. So the story was getting not boring because of all the people getting involved, but it wasn't exciting enough. So I was like, and I know it's going to get better, but in my head, I'm like going, do you know what I really want to do is I want to try and do these sort of trips of a lifetime adventures. And it would have taken me potentially another year to have got where I wanted to get to even start that. And I'm thinking, do you know what? Because I'm relying on other people, that sort of those videos are dying down in views and it's getting less people coming back. I was like, this is a good chance for me to flip it. So if I bring Ashworth back, it's done amazing. And I'm not saying it's completely the end for Ashworth. Maybe one day it will come back. Maybe it'll be shipped. But there's no real set plan yet at the minute, because you can only sort of plan so much in advance. But for me, I'm going, do you know what? It's time for me to take it to the next level. And the only way I can do it is by picking 3 amazing places I've got planned for next year. And it's going to cost money. That's the difference, is the cost of it goes massively up. And I want to put that in place. And again, it's that whole bringing the channel up to the next level. And then the next year after, taking it to the next level as well. And this is just the right time. But emotionally, every heartstring was being pulled constantly. Even coming back, I was like, what am I doing? Is this the right decision to make? It's all serviceable bits. So I can get the bike fixed. It'll be fine. But even now it's back. I've kind of got this slight less pressure, because I felt like I had to be out every sort of 6 weeks to move the bike on. I felt like I had, it's not fair just to dump it on somebody for any longer or even more than a couple of months. So it's kind of taken that pressure away. And as the channel as well currently is so busy, it's got products, about 6, I think, on the shelf, another 3 coming, that press launch, another press bike coming. It's hard to do it all. It's like I've got to be in a million places at once, and it kind of buys me that extra sort of month by doing the bigger trips. But I just think what I've got planned next year is just going to be huge. It's just like take the channel to the next level, and also take my craziness to the next level. So it's just that, keep building and building it.
And that is the exciting thing, I guess, not least of which for you, but I think for everyone who watches your content, because you do see, if it's not rude to suggest, but you do see you grow from season 1 of that adventure all the way through to the end, in terms of the content that you produce, in terms of how you're delivering it. You see an evolution of you. And I remember there was one episode where you just stopped at the side of the road and you kind of went, just standing here looking across this magnificent view, and I just realized for the first time I am just a pure adventurer at heart.
Yeah.
And it was almost like that moment where it was almost Hollywood, in that sense of this is never going to end. And I think that's why you kind of go from that peak almost to where you are now, in that, like you say, that emotive heartstring. Did you almost know, and it's probably very difficult for you to answer, but did you almost know at that point that this would at some point need to end, regardless of when that might be? And was it already starting to pull at you?
So I think a couple of legs ago, I was thinking, because I got to the point where it's like, which way do I go? So I could have just gunned straight towards Turkey, for example, but I had the offer to go to the Czech Republic. And I was like, well, if I go this way, I could start ticking off all these other countries. The weirdest thing, in my head, I was hoping that the whole Russia thing would be done and dusted, and I can go into Russia. Because I was thinking, if I can go that way, it would be awesome, because I can go around, and things potentially I would still be on the road if I could have, because that would have changed the whole trip in regards to how I could have got through and got to where I wanted to get to. But like now, I've got no kind of remorse. Like you said, when you kind of sit there and go, I'm an adventurer, it's like, well, Ashworth's vital part of the channel. It's been part of the channel. It's 2 years I've been on the road. Ashworth, including the UK trip, maybe I've had like three and a bit years. Ashworth's important, but the channel's about me and my adventure, and I've tried to do that on purpose many times as well. I've tried to not just focus on one bike. I've tried to make sure that I've used a different bike for the review side, a different bike to go out and do different adventures on, to break it up. The same as having things like the psychic on the channel and other people. I love people to come and be part of the channel, but there's also the focus point where it has to come back to you. So even this and the next part of the trip, there's not the Ashworth, but there's still the HelmetHead doing the craziness. And then hopefully, like I said, what I've got planned and the sort of bikes and things I've got planned as well, and the actual trip, it should just be out of this world. And hopefully everyone will love that. And then hopefully we can get Ashworth back on the road in the future and it will do something absolutely crazy again and come back. But I think one bike to do the entire world, it can be done, but not when you've got a full-time job, 6 kids, and you're trying to live 3 different lives all at the same time. So, but who knows? Again, everything changes. So in 6 months, I could land a massive sponsorship and they might give me a bike, and that could be the next adventure bike going around the world. Who knows?
These things happen, and you never know. One of my 18 subscribers, Alan, might just be that person who's gonna sort you right out.
Exactly. Now, at 18 today, but what could it be next week? Could be 1,000.
Hey, well, if I just get like 1% of your watchers who think that was all right, I'll just click go. You know,
you'll get 1%. It'll do well.
So I mean, in India, I've spent a bit of time in India with work. You know, over the years. Insane place, love it to pieces. The people are awesome, everything's insane. But you know, I've been on the back of a bike over there and nearly lost a limb, just like not even riding the thing. When you announced it, I'm thinking, was he going to do like coast to coast on a tuk-tuk or something? You know, I know the answer already, but you're not going to share any more at this point, are you? What the adventure's going to be?
Well, I will. Actually, no, but I've not told a couple of people know, but I've not made it public on my channel or anything yet. So if they're watching this, they'll get more of the exclusive. It's not 100% planned. Like I said, so far, I've got an idea of the flights and I still need to book them, that I won't book until October, and then the rest has to come together. But my plan is to go to India, fly out, do the internal flight, land near the Himalayas, have a Royal Enfield Himalayan to ride up the Himalayas, spend around a week. We're completely winging it, looking at different parts of the Himalayas and sort of coming back and forth and going up different parts and just see what happens. That's kind of where I'm going to go. And it's around about an 8 to 10 day trip, but with a week of actual craziness. So who knows? I'm not going to over research either. That's the biggest thing. I'm not going to go and start sort of Googling away at what's the best, what's not the best. Just stick something in the waypoint, looks like a mountain that way in the Himalayas. Let's just go and find out. And I think it's going to be one hell of a trip, to be honest. Absolutely mental. Yeah, that's just the first of one, first massive trip. There's another 2 planned as well.
That's extraordinary. The Himalayas on a Himalaya. I love that.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
that's epic. Yeah. Well, you heard it here. Hit subscribe, millions of people, because you never know, there might be a bit more. Might save it back. So now that's awesome. So do you literally just playing it bit by bit? You've got so far out and you're thinking, but like you say, there's no point planning too far because you just never know what's going to happen, right?
Exactly. One of the things I think what's hopefully a little bit different about what I'm going to do is because I'm going to aim to stay in one hotel sort of on the footholds, because I don't want to do this thing of heading off and then I've got to be somewhere by a certain point and then I'm then having to plan the next, if it makes sense. Like I said, I don't want to over plan it. So if I have one base place I'm staying, from there, I can try and do all these different places. But again, I don't really know much about India, if I'm completely honest. I know they do great curry. So for me, it'll be an entire experience and the craziness. But that's the way I like to do it.
Don't drink the tap water. Don't drink the tap water. That's my one piece.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, and I've also loads of people have already said to me, "Do I like injections up the bum?" So I'm just like, well, if I need to be stabbed on the bum, then that's fine, as long as I get to go. So I don't even know any of that yet. It's such early days. But then once I've booked the flight, will be October for January. Then I'll look at the hotel and the bike hire, and then I'll look at if I need injections and the rest of it. But I just want to do the minimum just to be able to go. And then after that, we'll figure it out. So yeah, it's the plan.
How exciting. Well, thank you for that little snippet. That'll keep me warm for a little while. That's amazing. What do you do now? What are you chilling out? You talk about Castle Wolfenstein at one point. Are you playing video games for a bit? Now you got nothing to do?
No, because I've got so much stuff. So today is an example. I'm midway through filming 2 reviews. One's a comms review. The other, I've just been sent this latest security camera that can protect my bikes and do motion sensors, and you can turn it around with your phone and do all sorts. So I've been working on reviews for that. I've just got loads reviews coming up. Saturday, I'm at the launch for the Vosges 900. I've got another press bike hopefully being delivered by the end of the week as well. So it's 24/7. Honestly, it's absolutely madness. I've got a little mini trip planned in October that's going to hopefully involve a monkey bike and a Honda Cub. So that's going to come out on the channel as the between now and India. So it's 24/7. Honestly, there's constantly stuff going on. But then there's a video coming out like every couple of days because I can't keep up. So it's just stacking at the minute, but I love it. That's part of what, it's part of the journey and being a content creator.
And like you say, if you love what you do, it's not exactly a job or a chore, is it? So fair play, exactly. Fair play. A few quick-fire questions, if I can say it without swearing inappropriately. Favorite bike of all time?
The Honda monkey bike. It's the easy one. It's got to be, isn't it? It's just the best bike. If you just want to smile. And the best thing I like about the monkey bike, and if I bought one, and I almost did buy another brand new bike, because I still want a bog standard one, really want a bog standard one, I'd change nothing. Maybe at a push, I'd change to the Scorpion exhaust. But I don't know even if I'd bother now. I think I'd probably just leave it standard. Because you just smile. As soon as you get on it, and you've probably felt the same, when you first get on a Honda monkey bike, it feels dangerous because it's so light. You're doing this with the steering wheel. It's this feels weird. But as soon as your brain gets around, it's just because it feels like it weighs nothing. Like you can put it in your pocket. You just start smiling. You're going like 50 miles an hour and it feels like you're doing 100. And you're going, come on. This is just, honestly, if we're at a bike for what, $3,500, $4,000, it's just, you're laughing. It's just nothing but smiles. And you can take it anywhere, up off-road, on-road, up a mountain, up a Sahara Desert on a sand dune. It will do it.
As proven by your good self, it absolutely will. And you're right, is what's this, smiles per miles or something, whatever the expression is. That is absolutely
miles per miles, 100%.
What's the worst bike you've ever owned?
So I've had a Honda DeVille, and it's a brilliant bike, absolutely brilliant. They basically made it for photographers. So the panniers, it's actually got like a lens hole to go all the way through, so the photographers could put their big lenses in it. But it's dull. I found it's great. It does, it rides fine, but it just doesn't put a smile on your face. It was just, it's the kind of bike you could sit there and you could commute an hour and back every single day. But at no point was I smiling when I was riding it. So out of all the bikes, it's probably the least exciting bike I've owned.
Fair enough. Most stupid decision you've ever made on an adventure?
As I said there, leaving my spot device in a back box and going up in really thick snow. And especially when I got to the bit where there's like the abandoned restaurant sort of thing, and there was that hut. And I kind of walked towards the hut, and there was where this path was, it looked like it had not footprints, but obviously the snow had melted away a bit compared to everywhere else. When you get that eerie feeling, you go, if I had my spot device in my hand ready, I'd probably go further. But that was the one time I went, I'm not, it looked like someone was living there. I was like, I'm not going to go and knock on this big wooden hut thing. Yeah. So yeah, that was probably the worst decision, I think. Well, the stupidest, I should say. I should have carried it. I should carry it more. But then I've not even paid the subscription. So
see, I'd have gone in. I'm that guy who's got like 4 million horror movies, so I'd have just walked in and dealt with it at that point. Yeah.
It's all right. It's fine. This might be someone's house, though. That was the other side. It could have actually, someone could have been living there. There's me walking around.
Don't mind us. So fine. What's the scariest, oh crap, that was close, moment you've ever had?
So when I was with Lee, Alex, and it was my dad, when I went back to Portugal for the second time, I went there 3 times actually. Yeah, the second time, I sold out a tour, one of their bike tours. So it was all of us going along. I was on Ashworth. They were all on like pink monkey bikes. And we kept racing like Mario Karts, and we kept pretending to chuck bananas behind us and all sorts. And me and Lee were both gunning it. and he must have backed off because he saw the bend. I was in race mode, fall down, I'm going to give it the beans. So Ben just went literally, it was just a straight turning bend. I looked at it and I've got the panniers and I can only lean so far on my bike as well before the panniers go. So I looked at it, I went to turn, I went, no, this isn't going to work. So I went straight and thankfully there was like a gravelly kind of road going in front of us, like not too bad. So I managed to go down there and stop, but Alex did the same behind me, but Lee went round. That was the moment when, a little bit of wee K came out, to be honest, because I was like, this is it, I'm going to crash. But yeah.
Proudest moment?
It's a difficult one because there's the point of the first time I took the bike and did the charity ride and we raised £1,000. That was my first ever time I did it. And then I did the 4 corners of the UK where we had to buy a big capacity CC bike. And I bought the Pan-European, and I think we did about $2,500 on that trip. And then recently, the Riding for Sausage, I think we did about $3,500 for charity. As much as it's going to sound really random, whenever I do a charity adventure, it never does well for the channel, and you actually lose quite a lot of subscribers because people either think you're either doing it for that reason or they don't want to know about it and they're not interested. Because you're saying, can you donate the entire time, etc. But for me, I love it because every time I do it, a band of people come together and we do something incredible. They invest their own money in their own time. And everyone we do, and I only do it every 2 years, but we achieve something amazing. And I think we all come back with that kind of smile on our face to go, do you know what? We might have spent a load of money on a bike and we might put stickers on it. It might have been daft and we might have gone through torrential rain or had to ride 500 miles and be knackered. And camp, I hate camping, but it's rubbish. But at the end of it, we've done something really special. And I love the way, and even editing those, if I ever watch them back at the end when the group of people are together, all that drone shots flying around us, it just makes me feel like, it's going to sound weird, but warm inside. It's got that kind of happy thing. So they're all of the charity trips probably are my most favourite, sort of proudest thing that I've done.
Yeah,
so yeah.
Quite right. Biggest influence or inspiration?
To be fair, probably my dad, just because he has always worked really hard and he's got a really nice life, like a super nice life. And I think for me, that's where I want to be. When I get to the point when I retire, I want my beautiful house and a pool and I just want to be happy. And he's kind of got that. He's got that like happy medium of kind of, he does his garden, he does his bits and bobs, and he'll still come on one of my bonkers adventures at his age that I just want to be like him. I want my kid to go, do you want to come and do this trip? And I'll be like, if I can get on the saddle, I'm coming. So yeah, definitely my dad.
It's I think anybody who watches the channel would love Senior Lord Head. He's a dude. He's an absolute chap. Yeah. And seeing him get on the monkey through Portugal, and it's like, I don't know how to ride this. It's been a long time. I've no idea. Just like, that's amazing.
We took like off-roading. What was quite funny, because normally any place that hire out bikes wouldn't do that in a million years because it wrecks them. I'm off-roading, and they taught my dad into doing it, and I was thinking, this is a really bad idea. And the guy that was touring us, Chico time is what we called him. He stayed with my dad, and my dad must have been, and he must have made it really difficult for himself, bless him, because he was scared. He must have done 3 miles an hour if you're lucky, all the way down this track, doing this, all the way down the track, doing this. But he did it, and he did it. But I let them go off massively in front, and I stopped for a bit to do some filming. I thought, I'm going to be really, really cool. I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to stand up on the pegs. I'm going to look really good. And they're all by this windmill thing, and I come flying along, and my front of my wheel hit a rut. So my bike starts doing this, and it looks like I'm going to come off. And to be fair, I thought I was. A little bit of poo came out. But I kind of went down the track, I got there. And the dad goes to me, what the hell are you doing? And I went, I didn't mean to do it. He went, well, you need to go a bit slower. And I was like 3 miles an hour. It took us hours for him to go down it. But he managed to do it.
Message to younger you. What's your advice for your younger self?
Start YouTube a lot earlier, because it's become, and I still think it is, I think if you did it when YouTube began, it was a lot easier to grow and get seen, where I think these days you have to put in so much work, time and effort. And one of the things I get asked all the time is people turn and go, oh, do you think I could get press bikes? Or how do I do this? Or how do I do that? And I'm just like, you need to work hard. You need to release videos at least once a week. And ideally at least 3 times a week. But you have to treat it. You've either got 2 ways. It's either a job and you're looking at being professional, or it's a hobby and it's to show your family and friends. And they're the two different places. So my advice would have been jump on it earlier and do it, because I would have been here a long time ago and probably hopefully bigger than I am now. And I would reach more people, and then more people would come on my bonkers adventures and my 11 out of 10 festivals and all that sort of stuff. But it's all happening. But yeah, start YouTube years ago.
What's your message to your followers and subscribers?
Just basically keep enjoying the ride, keep smiling, and then find the time to join me on something bonkers that I do, because everyone's welcome. And I say it a million times. Literally, I'll put a message on my Patreon, for example. I did a press bike. I was doing the long haul ride and the living with, and I just put a message on and going, I'm going to go here. I'm going to grab a HelmetHead breakfast. Come along, and then literally, it was 5 of us, I think. So more people get involved, come and say hello, be part of the channel, because everyone's welcome.
Nice. Did you ever think you'd have a breakfast named after you, by the way?
Well, I when I first went there, I said to him, I want a HelmetHead breakfast. And I've been hinting at Carl. Carl's like a brother from another mother, the guy that owns Chapter 1 Diner. So I've been hinting for a little while, and he's actually done it. And he actually wasn't going to tell me about it and just send me the menu with the HelmetHead breakfast on. But because I was coming, he was like, God damn. So, yeah, but no, it's cool. And I'm midway, hopefully, talking him into making the 11 out of 10 burger that he's hinted that he will actually do as well. So, yeah, potential. I'll have my own burger and my own breakfast. And then if I can find loads of other cafes that will do it as well, we can make like a whole national thing. It'd be really good. But it's just funny to watch any random person come in and go, can I have a HelmetHead breakfast? Because they actually think it's rude.
Amazing. That's new life goals. Have food named after me. I mean, this is the locker room. Everybody who comes into the locker room, of which there have been plenty by this point, but everybody who comes in, I always ask the very last question, which is, what's in your locker that's made you the success in life that you are?
Winging it. Just basically do that. Just don't plan, don't overthink it, and just wing it. And that is literally the key to be happy.
Mega. That's the soundbite. Don't overthink it, just wing it. That's the one I'm ripping at the end. That's awesome.
Yeah, do it. I'll do it. And another thing I'll say actually is, if you'd like to in the future, if we get 100 thumbs up on this video, we should do a podcast live. So we'll meet up and we'll do it actually live. 100 thumbs up on this video, we should do a podcast live. So we'll meet up and we'll do it actually live.
Yes. I would love that. That would be awesome.
You can bring your monkey bike. We can do a bit of a crazy thing, meet up somewhere, find a hotel, have a day, and we'll do a live, and we'll put it out on your channel.
I'm going to, if nothing else, right, I'm going to open 100 Gmail accounts. Go and give it 100 thumbs myself.
Everybody watching this, though, it gives them a reason. If you will give us a thumbs up, we go over 100 thumbs up. What we can achieve, it'll be easy. Everyone will do it. We'll make it happen. Well,
everyone does what you tell them to. So, this will be the absolute walk in the park. Yeah. That's amazing. That will be fantastic. I'm gonna keep. As soon as it hits 100, you're hearing from me.
It might be winter. It could be snow, but it'll be an adventure, and it'll be winging it.
Hey, look, it's not going to be any worse than that bloody hill with snow and a weird, scary cabin, is it? So,
I'm thinking Scotland, the top of a mountain.
We're all good. We're all good. That'll be amazing. That's fantastic. Thank you. Listen, thank you so much for giving up part of your Sunday evening. You've got family that you should and probably want to get off to now. This has been superb. Very much highlighted my year so far. So thank you so much for giving up the time. I do enjoy your content. Millions of other people do as well. So please keep doing it. Look forward to what comes next. Good luck with everything. Ride safe, stay safe. And we'll see you very soon on your next adventure.
Thank you very much for having me on your podcast. It's been fantastic to be here.